Hey, what's up everybody? This is Snow. Welcome back to another episode. Today I've got somebody very special and very gifted. He's a huge asset and proponent to the tech world on the artistic side. He heads up Goma Productions, which is an agency that specializes in visually enhancing brands. They create things like visual effects for film, musicians, artists, storytellers, etc. He also is a key designer in newly launching this year Museum of the Future out in Dubai. And he's here to share his experience launching a digital asset security company a few years ago, and some drama ensued with the company and the partners he's working on it with. Hopefully you guys enjoy just getting to know him and maybe learning from some of the experiences he's gone through. Here we go. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Snow Globe. I'm your host Snow, and I've got virtually connected with me today, Dosa. Kim.
Hey, what's up? Snow. I like it. Snow. It's pretty dope.
Are you ready?
I am so ready.
Awesome.
So ready. I'm
awesome.
so ready. It's like, I watched Tiger King and I was like,
Of course you would.
I was like, wow, I would put money that my story is just as crazy if I submitted it.
Yeah. Actually, I'm kind of curious to hear the details because I know like the superficial brunt of it.
Oh yeah, it was so crazy.
Yeah. I guess for my listeners, we'll start with who you are and what industry you're in.
My name is Dosa Kim. So sort of been everywhere and anything. I think in the back behind me is like some old stuff that I used to do. Worked in 3D for a while, worked in VFX. I was a concept artist. Before that, I was an artist in Atlanta. So, jack of many trades kind of thing. Got really heavily into the whole 3D design thing. And that's kind of me in the nutshell right now. So yeah.
Yeah, and you're really good at it. I remember you were teaching some 3D modeling or something like that.
Teaching a whole, bunch of kids how to 3D model since we were working on an app.
Yeah.
Digitizing 3D spaces
like
and stuff like that, right? Tons of stuff. So yeah, it was crazy.
It's really crazy because I have games on my iPod, on my phone that are like design your own living room. I didn't do the wedding because I remember you teaching like wedding venues, real life wedding venues and stuff. But I use those sometimes. It's really crazy. So yeah, well, let me dig into the elephant in my mind.
Sure.
The company that you had started with these two people a couple years ago when I first met you. How did you meet them? And then like what kind of started that decrypted venture?
I feel like this is going to be a crazy ass podcast, and yes, this is going to be really, really good. Anyway, so in California, I was running this. What you see behind me on my website is Goma.pro. So basically, I had a whole gang of kids that I taught over there as well to do a lot of 3D stuff and things like that. Right? I had Chloe Patel and Partha Ray that were my next door neighbors. Right? So we ended up doing like one of them is Partha is like an inspiring EDM artist, right? And hip hop, whatever. So I decided to do his video, but I gave him, these ideas I've been working on encrypting 3D. A little background on Partha is that he works in cybersecurity stuff.
Okay.
So basically told him the idea of of encrypting 3D, because 3D is everywhere now. It's everywhere, right? Yeah. Anything that you design, like even from this bottle right here, comes from like a 3D file, right? They pick it up and they do it. And before that, I had already started. The idea was to somehow tag 3D models, because working in the VFX industry, everything is a term called kit bashing. So basically, what you do is you just steal bits and pieces from other 3D models and you make your own stuff, right?
Okay, kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Placing it together from...
But it made me super inherently mad because learning 3D is not an easy task, right? It is a it's so not easy, right? And
no, it isn't.
Yeah, it's not something you're just like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick up 3D today. No, you're going down a rabbit hole and it's going to take a long time to do it.
Yeah.
And it made me inherently upset because there's no laws saying that, like, if you riff like a couple bars from a song, you might get sued, right? And that's just strumming a couple notes on a guitar or like playing a couple chords on a piano, right? Because it's an original idea. Well, nobody who even took any music classes could do that, right?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Right? I mean, the threshold is, it takes some talent to learn music, obviously, to know what you're doing. But because there's so many laws of music and litigation and stuff that, it's a big deal. But there's no litigation when it comes down to 3D files. And I felt that was a travesty, right? When we're doing some stuff or concept stuff, like, we're just putting together 3D models and doing some crazy stuff with it, and then basically building out whole scenes or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that was not right. And usually the 3D models that we have, the studios would just take our computers and use the 3D models, and they would rehash them again.
Really? Wow.
So that's why, like, when you see, like, think about Star Trek, for example, the latest Star Trek, there's no memorable ships in that thing, right? They're just, I think the Klingon ship is so crazy looking. It's just super bananas looking. And the thing is that thing is just kit bashed to death with other pieces of other models and stuff. That's why there's no defining whatever, like a spaceship is a spaceship anymore, right?
Right. Okay.
Because they're just trying to get it done.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things like that, right? It's just kit bashed together. That's just kind of how the industry went. And I just thought that, it's not right. Or the fact when Transformers came out, there's like some guy in China printing out a life-size Optimus Prime because those 3D models are just floating around.
Wow.
And
so
the big
basically no protection for that kind of thing.
No. And it's crazy to me because I brought this, like, this Pellegrino bottle here. Funny thing is that this bottle of Pellegrino, anybody, like, just the shape of it is a Pellegrino bottle, even though a bottle is a bottle is a bottle, right? But the ratios are exactly what they are, right? Exactly like this, the tip of here and the lip of this and, the indentation here makes it a Pellegrino bottle. Right. It doesn't matter how big this is. If this is 50 feet tall, or 2 inches high, the deal is that the ratios say that this is a Pellegrino bottle, and that can be classified as an original idea.
Yeah.
And so in the Supreme Court case, there was people might be familiar with Invisalign, the invisible braces, right, that people put together. And there was another company that came out really quickly called ClearCorrect. ClearCorrect got sued by Invisalign because, Invisalign spent a lot of money doing the research, all this stuff, all these 3D files, and ClearCorrect just came out of nowhere, right? And they basically hijacked it because all the 3D files for the teeth and stuff like this, or however they're making their stuff, came from Pakistan, where Invisalign was getting their stuff from India, right? And then it went to the Supreme Court case saying that 3D files are not trade secrets, which is bullshit now, right? Because
what?
Right, because it was just a conceptual thing. It's under concept, right? It's under just like tech drawings or whatever. But that's not the case anymore because there's 3D printing. And 3D printing changes the whole gamut of everything, right? I think Turbo Squid was sued by BMW because people were going to blueprints.com getting all the blueprints of all the BMWs and not printing out, but doing the 3D. So when you watch a car commercial, those are not real cars, right? They are CG cars. But those cars are to spec. And if you had to, you could technically build your own BMW. Yeah. Now, because there's 3D metal printers now. So the game has gotten so crazy that 3D files are kind of a thing. And you wonder, and it's kind of like, is this bottle the most important thing, or is the 3D file the most important thing of this thing, right? The digital file is way more important now. Yeah. Because it gives, like, that gives you the right to do whatever it is. The digital.
Yeah, you have that, you can make millions
of these, right? And no one knows the difference. Obviously, this is just a bottle, but when it comes to like sophisticated hardware or pieces, now we're talking crazy. That's why I came up with this crazy idea.
Yeah, makes sense. You were solving a huge issue for the creative world that didn't exist before. So
So
that's how you came up with Decrypted using. Now, how did Partha? Because he was in security.
He had the programming experience, which he did not. What's it called? We had a guy named Mike Scholl that actually did most of the programming, right?
Okay, yeah.
And Chloe, it was Partha Ray's girlfriend who just wanted to be a CEO of something.
Oh no. Did she have experience at all?
No, zero. None whatsoever.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So you guys got together to form this company.
Right. So we decided to move to Georgia.
Is that because you're from Georgia, or?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that were in case, like my sister was asking me to, a lot of family politics were going on, and that really ties into this case too, which makes it into, I want to say it's almost close to Tiger King territory. Like, it's getting really, it gets so crazy.
There's so many layers.
Oh man, I can't even tell you, Sarah. I can't even tell you. Snow, my bad. So those who are listening right now, Snow, this is like way back when. This is several years ago when we were doing it. She was one of our interns, but she helped me. We made a lot of media, right? And so I thought of all the media, and with Snow helped me with like building a lot of this media, like interviews, all this stuff that actually got us into South by Southwest, which ended up we winning South by Southwest, the Innovation Interactive Awards, which is super crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't really think of titles or CEO and stuff like this, but so we did this thing, got Mike Scholl involved, and we really went to town on this program called Decrypted. Basically, it will scramble your 3D model, and once you logged in, you got your key to unscramble it, right?
Okay.
Unscramble the 3D model so that you could see it. And if anybody opened up your 3D model on the internet, it would send out a beacon to tell you that, hey, this is an encrypted model. And if you want to use it, you have to talk to this person to use it.
Great, yeah.
And on top of that, that was in place so that later on that we could put IPs on things too. So if someone made something, they could say that that's because
you have to pay for it before you take it.
Right. I mean, you could just say, hey, I don't care, just give me credit for it or whatever. As long as, because the thing is about creation is that most people don't really care how much money, they just want to be known that they made it.
Right.
Which is so crazy to me because I'm the one who thought of this idea, made it, and they stole this idea that's supposed to save people from IP, which is really
so
which is like
that's so terrible.
Snow knows because she's seen it, right? She's seen how they were about a lot of stuff. Like it was more of an ego thing. Yeah, I didn't.
Sadly, yeah. But anyway, so this is that's how the company started. And then you guys had won some awards for it. And that's what happened after that? What happened to the company? It was picking
she gave a speech at South by Southwest and it was so awful, right? It was so awful that I went up and finished the speech. And then after that day, I was just like, I'm the CEO of this because obviously the shit that's coming out of your mouth is super whack. You don't know what the hell you're talking
super
about.
Whack.
Because I didn't know, because she wasn't representing it right. It's like, I'm not one for titles. I'm just like, this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I have not taken a break. I have not taken a vacation for like 2-3 years, right? And I've been working like nonstop. You and I worked together on a lot of stuff, the video stuff, all this stuff, the components, all that stuff. And,
you're like a super, super hard worker. Like got multiple strings and multiple things going on, your hands on multiple things. It was crazy. It was great because it just reminded me of like, that's what it takes to be successful.
Oh yeah. Well, that and also not people, backstabbing you either. So yeah, it gets so crazy. The story gets so crazy. And it took me, on a side note, it took me a long time, man. I went through some serious depression, like some serious depression.
So what ended up happening? What did they do?
I went on a break, right? And I try to get updates what everybody was doing and stuff like this. And I was in Morocco and on this amazing trip with my friend. But every time I tried to call them, they were just out to lunch. The whole team. Whenever I got internet, they just would not respond.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
This was after South by Southwest?
This is after South by Southwest. Right?
Okay,
I went to some seminars in San Diego and stuff like this as a CEO and stuff like this. I was totally, in charge, making sure that the program was going good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was doing Pre-Party too, which is digitizing, event spaces and all that stuff on an app, which is awesome. Like, we're the first to do it.
Yeah.
I was training all these kids. So I get back and they want to kick me out of the company.
Like legit? Like what?
Legit.
What did they say? Was it just like an email, a bad written note?
Yeah. They're like, nobody likes working with you, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, okay, that's not happening.
Ouch.
And I had paid for SeaGraph for the other convention center and they wanted to go there. And I was like, no, I'm still the CEO. And then they went and we were still talking about it. But then they just they sent me a letter, side story. I'm doing Pre-Party too. So you saw those kids I was training, right? Mm-hmm. I was training like 10 kids how to do 3D, how to build this thing. It was crazy. I was really working all over the place.
Yeah.
So my sister was embezzling money out of it and trying to take over that company too. Oh no, it gets crazier. We got in so much fight, like, that was going crazy. And then I'm going, ballistic with Decrypted. They sent me a check and they sent me this thing. They're just like, for $5,000, you can give up all your rights to Decrypted. I was like, get the fuck, $5,000? Are you fucking out of your freaking heads? Like, I just moved here. I built this office. The office I'm standing in right now, this whole building, like I built it for Decrypted.
How big is it? I forgot. It was like.
It's huge. It's huge. It's 2 stories, all this stuff, like offices and everything. Built all this shit. I was like, get out of here. And I don't know what happened to the check. Well, anyways, what we had found out is my sister had cashed that thing, or somebody cashed it in and forged my name.
Oh, dear.
And forged some documents. And I'm not pointing any fingers, but culprit number 1 is my sister comes up to it, right? So maybe I don't know what exactly happened, but something fishy has gone down. During this time, my sister is embezzling all the money, so I can't pay all the employees now. It's just going haywire.
Oh, no.
And I literally, then my sister pawned all my stuff at a garage sale. All my stuff, all my belongings that was in one of the warehouses.
Wow.
She's like, oops.
Why do you think she did that?
She said her partner did it, but, she didn't stop her or anything. She just kind of let it happen. It was just a shit show. And it just like further drove me to like this huge, crazy depression thing. Like I could not get my bearings straight from anything, from which way or another. I was just trying to pick up jobs from every which direction, started working with like really seedy people, all this stuff. At one point, I had a gun in my face from some crazy ass rapper. It was crazy.
Whoa, are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. It was crazy. I was on the brink of like literally like suicide. I was contemplating it so hardcore because it was just, I was like on top of everything. I had designed during this whole time. I went to Amsterdam to help design the Museum of the Future for the royal family in Dubai, right? The Museum of the Future that's opened up this year. Like I helped design that. Like I did all these crazy, amazing things, right? And then now I'm living in this factory on a couch for like a whole year by myself, trying to keep this thing going.
Yeah. Wow.
And like went crazy because I didn't have the wherewithal to even talk to legal experience or whatever, trying to get this thing back, right? And they're just like having the time of their lives, or signing all these deals. Apparently, I've heard like, they said that the story is that their dad invented Decrypted. They changed the name of Decrypted. They closed down the original company, which was Pedeka, and then they went to went to Denver and started it under the name Polyport. And they're telling everybody that their dad is the one who invented it because her dad was like a NASA scientist at one point. And I was like, get out, dude. You guys are lying.
Oh, wow. So, how do they get away with this? I don't get it.
It was me being depressed, not being able to gather my thoughts correctly. I had to really, right now I'm not in a good place with my sister or my family because they forged my names on other documents too, which is really, I got basically screwed up from both ends. Like, the story gets even crazier, but I'm not going to get into it because then Netflix is going to be like, "Yo, what's going on?" Right? I do not want to be the next Tiger King. I don't want to be,
You don't want your own like docuseries.
No, I do not want the docuseries. I really don't want to I don't want to be like.
No, privacy, please.
Right. I don't want to be.
Dosa's privacy.
The 3D warrior or whatever it is, whatever they're going to name it, right?
3D warrior.
Right, I don't know what you would name it, but yeah, I don't want to be that dude. But yeah,
dude, I can't believe
it was so bananas. Though. It was really, really bananas.
So this was over the course of what, like 3 or 4 years?
3 years now.
3 years? Yeah. So the last thing I had heard of was the patent. Is that the legal?
Yeah, actually, so fighting? I am. I can't talk too much about it, but we are in a dispute right now. Okay. Don't want to really put it way out there yet, but we are.
No worries. Yeah.
We are definitely. That's being worked on, right?
Okay.
So that's being worked on. And also, there are some weird legal issues that they have with disintegrating the original business as well. So that's another thing. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of weird things out there, right? Yeah. Picking up the pieces and looking and doing all this like research and stuff, it's just super seedy all the way around. Everywhere. It's just bad news everywhere. So thanks to you, I hollered at you, Snow, and, for your viewers and stuff, definitely just starting to pick up the pieces, talking to people that, that knows, kind of the inner workings of like how it was developed and where it went and, who was involved. But to be quite honest, though, they took my name off the patent, which is crazy because none of them know any 3D. Zero. Yeah. At the time, zero. They knew nothing about that. Zero. Right. I don't even know how that even you can even explain that, but whatever.
Well, perhaps in court you can. So
with counsel and stuff like this, it's been good, but yeah.
That's good. I'm really glad that you have some help on that. Man, that's just wild. I can't imagine that. 3 years is a long time to deal with something like that, too. Just kind of looking back, my question is, was there anything that you wish you knew before you started working with these two?
I would say this for inventors and people like this or ownership and things like this. I had the best intentions, right? And I really do believe in people. I really believe, I think that everybody's coming in with, the best intentions. What I've been taught was even your own family members will, you know what I'm saying? It's so crazy to me.
Besides protecting yourself from other people, you're protecting yourself in general. Crazy.
It's crazy to me. It's, I think the one.
But you didn't suspect that, right?
No, I did not suspect it.
That's wild.
I think the real depression was not from the Polyport or Chloe or, Partha or Andretti or whatever you want to call him. I don't think that one was the linchpin that hurt me the most. I think it was my own blood, my own family, right? When it comes down to that, I think that one hurt me the most, right? That was the worst kind of pain. And I didn't know how to, I've come to terms with it now because, I always looked out for my sister. Half the reason I moved down here was to help her with that pre-party thing, but she wanted to control it and, was doing weird stuff with the money and basically just really bankrupt the whole thing, right?
Darn.
And, I was training all these kids out of, kindness of my heart to build this company. And basically it just blew up in my face because she was just really defunding it and defrauding the whole, just everything. So that on that end was really hard to manage. And then, you have Chloe and Partha doing their thing, and I didn't have the wherewithal trying to connect all the dots and put it all together, right?
Yeah, makes
Uh,
sense. Yeah.
it was too great. It was just, it really hurt me inside. And it hurt me so much that it almost broke my heart. Like I almost had a heart attack actually, because the stress was so great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going to die of a broken heart. Like that's the real truth of it. And that one hurt me the most. Like I think that once I got over that, I can actually, with a rational mind, without me like having anxiety attacks,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't want to think. I couldn't even think about it. Like I didn't even want to think about it because it brought me so much anxiety. I just kept on pushing it out of my head, kept on pushing out of my head. I didn't even want to look into it and that's where my negligence of like doing due diligence and going after Polyport and all these guys and all this stuff was that I didn't want to believe that my own family would do this, right?
Right.
That's where I think it really killed me.
No, I can imagine. I mean, I can't imagine, but I can.
But you can understand, right?
But I can understand, like.
You can understand.
Man, the great.
Yeah. That hurt. That was painful.
Yeah. Things are different now, right?
Things are a little different. I'm not in the whole 3D VFX thing. Like it was just too hard to manage, and I just did not have the mental facilities. I don't think I was right in the head, and it's just too much to. It's hard to keep up with all that stuff too. So it's good, getting to esports and stuff like this, broadcasting that stuff, which I had a good time with. It's way easier. Married, which you got married to, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I got married in that time.
Because I was writing your email and it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a new last name.
New last name, which is cool.
Yeah.
And just kind of starting getting my life together. And yeah, my wife's been helping me with the whole legal stuff, so it's been great.
That's good.
Starting to definitely putting back the pieces and trying to right the wrongs. Sorry.
Wrong the right.
Sorry. I have been having a bad case of dyslexia.
Dyslexia. That's awesome.
Wow. Did I just do that?
I have to say, I think that's a common trait of somebody who's very artistically inclined.
Maybe.
Because we tend to be Yodas here and there.
Maybe. Possibly. Also, because, it's been great during the whole Corona thing, too, which is once in a while I've been going back to my art roots again. So, which is why my finger's all purple and stuff. I went to go do some, paint some walls with my friends who are graph writers and stuff. So it's been kind of, getting back to roots. So it's been good. It's been healthy. And maybe sniffing those fumes got me bad case of the dyslexia. I can't even say it.
Leave it on that.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it on that.
Yeah, we'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it right there. So yes.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's been a big source of help too, and not just be so hell bent on this like idea, right?
Yeah.
It is good to be driven and all that way, but I think for anybody's sanity, just sometimes you just need to take a break from it and just kind of enjoy life for a second.
Right, for a second, literally.
What is important, what's not important. It's just really unfortunate, though. I do understand the magnitude of what was made, which I cannot let them get away with it, because it's on the merit of giving people credit for what they create, which I'm a big proponent, because obviously I'm making things, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that the sense of ownership is a big deal. It's a big deal as an artist. That's why I made something like that. It's such a big deal to me that if anybody is out there and can find that footage of me giving the speech at the South by Southwest 2017 footage, that'd be great, because I've been trying to find it. But at the end, I made it very, very clear that this is for all the creators out there. That's why that thing was designed for.
Yeah.
And that it is not made for corporations, what they're selling it to, which is fine and all. There's a lot of money in it for sure. But more so than anything is that artists themselves have some kind of stakeholder in the creations that they make.
Of course, yeah.
It's important. It's content. It's an important thing. It's a beautiful thing. Like even this podcast that we're making, like this is an idea, right? And this is an idea that's going to stay there. And the person who produced it, Snow, it's from that brainchild. And that's where credit needs to be given where credit is due.
Exactly. Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
The smallest thing, if Susie just decided to do 3D and she's awful at it, but she makes a little flower, at least she said, that's my flower. I made that. That's fine. I did this, which is probably the most amazing thing about making anything, whether it be a music piece or whether it be, drawing something on a piece of paper, is to say that I did it. And I think that's what humans strive to do. My life meant something because these are things I accomplished.
For sure.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah. Dude, you just answered all the last couple questions.
Oh.
I don't even need to. I was going to say, well, what's the future like? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what the future's like. The future right now is, to me, I like doing the whole esports thing. It's fun. I've met a lot of cool people. I see where the future is going with that. It's fun. Content creates itself. And I'm understanding like the whole sports thing. I'm not a big sports person by any means. I play video games, but not at this level.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to produce. As for the future, I want to get to a point where I can get this behind me, hurry up and get on with my life. I do have to be diligent about this, but ultimately I want to get to a point where I'm making stuff again, right? And things are meaningful to people, getting back to artwork. Yeah. And just hopefully telling stories, maybe working with you one day to make that, make a movie or whatever or something.
Count on it. Like, that's like my whole goal.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what got us, that's what we were working on. So that's where I would like to get to. I would like to pull some documentaries together, tell the stories that were not told correctly, and making sure that things are done right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think anybody who's respects artistry, creativity, people who put energy into making something for everyone or to share with everyone, there's a huge level of respect that each of us who are involved in that space like to give to one another. So
no, I totally agree. I think that's what it's all about, is making things with amazing people and constantly I love the creative process. I love it.
Same.
I love meeting
why we work in it.
It's why we work in it. It's exactly why we work together. Is that it's awesome.
It doesn't feel like work. Like, it's so fun. And when we get excited and ready to make, we'll lose track of time. We don't eat.
Yeah. You don't eat.
That's how you work nonstop for 3 years.
Yeah, it is, because you love what you do. You love something till it kills you. You find something that you love, and that will kill you. I think Bukowski said that, and I think that's one of the best quotes ever, because it is true. I can do this forever. The worst is those people who are not creative and live off of that. That I cannot stand. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with that at all. You do not taking advantage of this love and warping it into something so sinister. It's not right.
Right.
It isn't right. It just isn't.
I mean, that was the whole premise of the company to begin with.
Which is so crazy to me, because that's exactly you're doing exactly what it was designed not to do.
Yeah, it's just wow, that's terrible.
Wow, crazy how that works out.
Yeah.
There's a crazy story which I told my counsel, and I told my lawyer, and she was like, "Wow." She's amazing, by the way. But AM radio is out, and I forget the guy who developed FM radio. Do you know the story?
I don't think I do.
So this guy made FM radio. It's anybody who knows radio. FM radio is way better than AM radio, right?
Gotcha.
The AM radio, because it's been out longer, had promoted it, and the guy who made FM radio went bankrupt.
Wow.
Killed himself, I think.
What?
Yeah, he died, and the guy with the AM radio bought FM radio and owned it.
Did he buy it after he died, or just
Yes, he bought it after he died.
Wow.
So that happens too, right?
Yeah, that'd probably be the worst case scenario. When I hear stories like that, I think about perspective a little bit. People will sit there and judge or whatever. We don't know what that guy went through to get to that point of, suicide or whatever. Or the other side, the guy who bought the thing.
Right.
Because I listen to Dave Chappelle a lot. One of my favorite comedians, super thoughtful. And he told a joke, and he was just like, so yeah, there's this guy I went to high school with or whatever. He was a lawyer. We graduated, and he was a lawyer. He made tons of money, and he got with this woman, and the woman took his money, took his house, took his whatever, and he was bankrupt, and he was living in his basement with his mom as a janitor or whatever. And not once did he think, I should kill myself. He was just saying how he visited him, and he was in such great spirits, and this guy didn't think to himself he should kill himself after all that. I was just thinking, whoa, perspective, man.
Perspective.
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends. I found this guy right now. His name is Edwin Howard Armstrong. According to the Wikipedia, yes, he
owned the FM radio.
FM radio, and he was embittered, lashed out, striking her arm. She left the apartment. So sometime he jumped to his death. He killed himself.
Man, I'm gonna have to read that story. That's so wild.
Yeah, and I think about that. I think about that a lot. I think about that, that creator who had made something so great that, the, powers at B manipulated the situation.
For sure.
And it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I think of, when I think of Chloe, I think of the Jared Kushner who is like, taking all those masks and diverting them somewhere else where the federals are, the federal agencies are seizing all those masks up and then, selling them to states at such a high price. Like those people exist. And it's so crazy to me, right? This, I don't understand where it comes from that I have to make a quick buck off of everything, especially when, I don't get it.
Yeah.
That part, it burns me up. And it's so funny because hopefully the one silver lining maybe through this whole Corona thing is that hopefully America will open its eyes that we hold these people that are accountable, that are totally swindling the system, which I got swindled out of, right? From someone who's like this, some girl from Massachusetts who's like so entitled that she needs to be a CEO of something that she knows nothing about. She never even opened the program when we were working on it. Zero. She knew nothing about it, which is so crazy to me. I got mad at her one time. I was like, you've never even opened the program. So ridiculous to me that you wanted to be a CEO. Unbelievable. Anyways, that being said, I see it all the time, right? Now I see it, my eyes are open and I see it all the time in politics, everywhere else. And I hope that people start opening their eyes and seeing like, hey, this is not right. This is
Right.
inherently wrong.
This, like terrible crowd of swindlers. Yeah, I don't know the psychology behind people who are entitled. I can think of like moments where I felt entitled, but it was because of hard work not rewarded, but work
No,
not.
but I feel like that's warranted, right? It's like, I paid my dues, so I deserve some kind of whatever it is. But those like, why is Jared Kushner on like the, the task force of coronavirus? Why is he even there? Why is he even there? And this kills me. Like there is like, I hate to say it, there is this legacy in America, you know what I'm saying, of this entitlement, right? Of these old rich families that just do this. And I'm just like,
right. Oh my gosh, yes. I was about to say like I want to bring up family history, socioeconomical status, and race because I feel like all of those play a part in how people approach money. You know what I mean? Like
and people and
people,
and people like this is different, right? Like yes, I felt like this white entitlement. I hate to say it like that, but it is true.
It's kind of hard to avoid.
It's hard to avoid, but it is very true that it exists, and it's it's not about being white. I know a lot of great white people too, but
yeah, I was gonna say like it's not necessarily the literal white. It's like a stigma white.
It's a stigma white, and I think that is a very thing that exists, and I think that when we see politics today, this is kind of it's kind of falling apart at the seams now, right? There are people that have no business being there.
Are just there.
Are there, and you're like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Why are you even talking?
How are you qualified?
It's like, when you see Ivanka like showing up right somewhere and she's asking the dumbest questions, you're like, why are you even there? Why are you there?
Right.
Yeah, how does that happen? And I see how that happens. And I think in the tech world too, and especially like, with design and stuff like this, when it comes to that, I feel like that's where companies and stuff like this that are built on the creative services too start falling apart at the seam too.
Yeah.
If you don't respect the creative, if you don't expect where all the creativity comes from or the process, it's going to fail. At the end of the day, it's going to fail.
There's going to be something empty and hollow about it. And it'll probably only get so far because it needs that juice to carry it through. So
right, it's like Joss Whedon when he does Avengers, right? That guy was a comic book nerd and a half, right? Nerd, and it came out amazing because he loves doing it. He loves that stuff, like he loves it, which is why it came out as amazing as it did, right?
Yeah.
DC Universe, no.
It's missing a little bit of heart,
Yeah, well, because they're not nerds, because they're looking to make the big blockbuster, right? They're into like they're not into comic book. They're not nerdy as Joss Whedon is. Joss Whedon is real. He's up there for nerd.
He's up there.
I mean,
yeah, like there's always got to be a like Apple to Microsoft or Chevy to whatever.
It's having the passion for something, and it will always come through in the end, right? I think that content creation, no matter what it is, like I was really passionate about with the whole Cryptid thing, passionate about protecting people's rights. And that's why it went as far as it did. I'm the one who thought of put up the forums and stuff like this and put it up everywhere. In fact, most of the forum posts were all from me and all the stuff that I made. because I was really passionate about it. So it was on those, and people saw the real passion in it. It just got hijacked by privileged people.
You know what? That brings me to another question. What
Sure.
advice would you give to an inventor or creator who sees the problem and knows the answer, and maybe
If it's a good idea and you have all these people involved, right? Like people who are really attracted to you and your ideas and stuff, I would say, if other people that are really into your idea and stuff, don't really start protecting yourself from the get-go.
Right? Yeah.
Like really, if they really want to see it through with you, you guys will come to an understanding, right?
Right.
But definitely, cautionary tale is to definitely protect yourself, right? It's
do your research, due diligence.
And if you really think and value your ideas, protect it. If you really wholeheartedly believe in it, you need to go ahead and start protecting it, because you don't know. I mean, we were friends that were next door neighbors, right?
Right.
That ended up winning South by Southwest, right?
Yeah,
that those things happen though. That can happen, right? And if it's like that, then definitely protect yourself and do due diligence. There's a lot of stuff out there on the web that you can actually look up for IP protection and stuff like this. And I think that any kind of like notes, which has been really helpful in my situation, is that there's a lot of evidence out there that like I put out a lot of stuff. So definitely, just don't be a background character, and definitely let it know that you're the one who made it. I don't like to find the confrontations like this, but you have to stand up. And I'm at the point now where mentally I'm stable now that I can do it, and it's a battle I have to take now. So that's what it is.
Well, props to you, dude.
Thanks.
No.
I love that name. I love that name. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's just what I go by now. It actually has been growing on like everybody. Like some of my friends are just like, call me that now.
Oh, that's dope. I like it. I like it a lot. Snow is good.
My superhero name. So well, I want to thank you for providing all this beautiful storytelling that you have for my podcast.
Yeah, I think that was a good podcast. So definitely.
Yeah, I hope to have you back, because I want to kind of bring a psychologist on or whatever and kind of dissect some stories. Like,
I'm with that. I'm so with that. I am so with that.
Why did this happen?
It was awesome seeing you again. It's been years, and so I'm happy that you're married. Congratulations.
Yeah, it feels weird to be married, because I still feel like a kid, like who doesn't know any better.
Nothing changes, dude. Nothing changes. Like
nothing changes.
Yeah,
right?
Nothing changes. You're just the only thing that's different is that you're paying bills.
Exactly. Like, is there any social media that you want people to look at?
Oh yeah, just look me up. Instagram is probably the best way. X_Dosa_X.
Awesome. All right, guys. That was Dosa. Love you all. See you next time.
Yep.
Actually, I won't see you. Listen to me next time. Dosa, love you.
Love you too.
I'll talk to you later, man.
I'll talk to you later.
Hey guys, I want to thank you again for listening, and I hope you learned a little bit about protecting yourself when it comes to your creations, and remembering to do your due diligence when it comes to understanding the laws surrounding the things that you make and put out there for the world. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, as always, at the Snow Globe Podcast, and on Twitter at the Snow Globe Pod. As always, we'll be on every other Friday for your entertainment, of course. And don't be a stranger. Reach out. Love to hear from you. Alright guys, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.